Hi everybody and welcome back to Tales of Wanderlust. I'm Cass, this is Jasper, Napoleon is sleeping inside, and if you want 5 lesser known travel tips, then stay tuned. Alright, this guy and I have been on a month-long road trip, along with Napoleon, but Napoleon sleeps a lot. Being back on the road, it has reminded me there are some tips and tricks that are definitely lesser known, but make life a lot easier being on the road. When I lived full time, these were common knowledge I had at the time, but since I've been off the road for a while and coming back on, there have definitely been a few lessons along the way. So the first one, big thing that I completely forgot about is always carry quarters with you. I actually didn't even have any cash when I left on this trip. So cash and quarters are very important. Another important thing is a checkbook. So why are cash, quarters, and a checkbook so important? Well, it comes down to accidents, laundry, and campgrounds. So Napoleon ended up having an accident one of our first nights out. He ended up going number 2 all over the bed in the camper. And then when I put him in the truck so I could clean up the camper, he ended up peeing on the back seat where Jasper sits. So there was a lot of laundry that I needed to do, and I needed to do it that night. So changed course of plans, went to a laundromat, got to the laundromat, realized I had no cash and I had no quarters. Thankfully I was traveling with a friend who had a bag of almost $30 worth of quarters, and I could do the laundry. I was in Marfa, Texas, so it's a touristy spot, meaning laundry was expensive. So by the time I got through all the laundry, it cost me $18 in order to do it, and I needed cash since they had a quarter machine, or I needed quarters in order to get that done, neither of which I had. Then comes campgrounds. So West Texas, not much public land, so you're staying in campgrounds a lot of the time. In order to pay for those campgrounds, you need cash, or sometimes they will even take check. So again, I didn't have any cash. Thankfully, I did have my checkbook, and I wrote a good old-fashioned check and was able to stay at a campground. There was also another gift shop I wanted to go to in Lincoln, New Mexico, which is a really cool old historic town. Well, they don't have any Wi-Fi there. At least when I went, they were getting it the next week. They couldn't run a credit card. So I bought a mug souvenir with a checkbook. When you're in those more remote places, you really need to make sure that you have cash, quarters, and a checkbook on hand just in case. I am at a truck camper rally here in Quartzsite. The rally is there. I am parked way out here so that Jasper can have room to run freely because he's not very social with strange dogs. So sorry for all the road noise. But tip number 2. To go along with the story of Napoleon's accidents, which happened in quick sequence on the same day, it is really important to always have waterproof covers on any of your mattresses when traveling with pets. Thankfully, this was something I had in place already. So there's a waterproof cover on top of the mattress here that Jasper sleeps on in the truck, and also over my mattress in the camper. If it hadn't been for those waterproof covers, I would have been in a lot more trouble, especially when Napoleon peed all over that mattress. So with the waterproof cover, I was able to just pull those off, pull off the sheet, wash it all, and we were good to go. Those covers are a bit of a pain to put on the mattresses, so I will give you a warning there. I'll link to the ones I use below. They worked for me for the last 6 years of travel. I've got one on this big mattress as well, but with Napoleon and him being 18 and having accidents, trust me, those waterproof covers come in handy a lot more often than I wish they did. All right, while we're inside, tip number 3 that I had completely forgotten about. I went to the pet store. I bought Jasper and Napoleon this beautiful dog water bowl. It's nice and big, holds a lot of water, sits really nicely up there. But here's the thing, when you drive, the water goes everywhere. So it means, and actually let me take this outside so Jasper can drink. So every single time I move the truck camper, I have to empty the water bowl. Yeah, you want some water? So what does that mean? It means a lot of wasted water. And with having to dump all that water, I am going through my 30 gallons fresh much faster than I want to. So the solution that I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a stainless steel bowl that has a sealable lid on it. That way, when I move, I just put the lid on. When I get to the destination, pull it off, the water's there, saved all that water. What my friend does, she uses one of those spill-proof bowls. So they've got those lids that come around and then the dog can drink out of the middle. Napoleon wouldn't be able to drink out of that, so that's not gonna work for us. But for her, the no spill bowl has worked really well. So a couple different options there. I've been sitting here working all day and there's been 3 cars that passed me. And now that I start filming, look at this. It's like Grand Central Station out here. For the 4th tip, we're gonna come back on inside. This one's new for me. Try to make your morning routine easier on yourself. So I still work full-time when I travel. I have your regular 9 to 5 job, but that's East Coast hours. So I'm usually working 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning is when I start. So I've got to get up, get ready, get Jasper walked, get everything set up. And you know what I used to do is pour over coffee in the morning. But it takes cleanup. You got to figure out where to put the grounds. You got to clean out the strainer, all of that. So now on this trip, I brought the pour over with me. As you can see, I have no idea where it is. But I also brought instant coffee with me because I knew I was going to be getting back into the rhythm of things, trying to figure out how everything was going. And I wanted an easy cup of coffee in the morning. Well, I've kind of fallen in love with instant coffee because not this one doesn't taste that good, but the Starbucks one actually tasted pretty decent. There's also a few other brands that taste a lot better. Maybe you'll like the Folgers. Maybe it's just me. I'm not a big fan of this one. It tastes kind of weak, but instant coffee is so easy. You dump it in the mug, you pour over hot water, mix it up. Then when I'm done drinking it, I literally just rinse out the mug, get it ready for the next day, and you're good to go. There's no grounds to throw out, easy to clean up. Does it taste as good? No, but it is so easy. It is worth the trade-off to me when I travel. Now, I still do drink good coffee on the weekend, which takes a lot more effort to brew, but on the weekend I have the time, and I kind of like the slow morning routine of making my coffee. But during work week, or especially on travel days, instant coffee makes life so much easier. So for me, the convenience is worth the trade-off on the taste. And the final tip for, did you want to come in? Huh? Did you want to come in? All right. All right, you're good. Go on up. And the final tip is always stay flexible with your plans and make sure you have offline maps downloaded. 2 mistakes that I made. The first part, I was on a trip with my friend. We went through southern New Mexico, West Texas. We saw Las Cruces, White Sands, Lincoln, Carlsbad, Big Bend, Guadalupe National Park, Alpine, the McDonald Observatory, and a few others along the way. And we had things planned out where we were going to stop at a few different places each day. But first, Napoleon's accident, that veered us off track for a little bit because we had to deal with that. And then we also found that when we were at places, we wanted to spend more time than we had allocated. So Lincoln, New Mexico, for example, amazing little town, had such a great time there. Because of that, we missed something else. So we had planned way too much into the short period of time that we had, even though we both took the week off of work. Having such a packed agenda was great because it gave us a lot of good ideas, but then we also missed out on some things because we had reservations that we had to make at the end. And so with that comes downloading offline maps for where you're going on your trip. So we were in West Texas and southern New Mexico, which are pretty remote areas, and there really isn't much signal along the way. Thankfully, we have Starlink. So every evening when we stopped, if we needed to, we could turn that on. But I had not downloaded offline maps, which I usually do either on Google Maps or on OnX. Google Maps for driving routes, OnX for finding BLM land, national forest, camping, etc. And I didn't have any of those offline maps. So thankfully, again, my friend who I was traveling with did. She knew where we were going, but there were a couple of times where I was in a gas station and I knew where I wanted to go next, but I couldn't actually put it into my phone to get the directions to go there. So without my friend being there, I would have had to either set up Starlink or just completely guess. Maybe even buy a map at the gas station, if you can still do that. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. So if you're planning a route, just go on Google, download the offline map before you go, and then that way if your phone quits on you, if you connect it to CarPlay, which my CarPlay, it sometimes just makes the map disappear and you have to re-enter everything, so you need Signal to do that. If you have your offline maps, you don't have to worry about it when you get there. So overall, the trip was definitely a success. We spent a full entire month living out of the truck camper together. Napoleon and Jasper are starting to get a lot more comfortable in the camper, which is really nice. As am I. I'm starting to get my routine down, starting to learn the camper. So we'll be heading back so I can take my last class with my master's, and then I will be graduating at the end of April. So if you have any questions on our learnings from this trip, from the truck camper overall, how everything is going, feel free to comment below. Otherwise, we will see you down the road whenever I'm able to post another video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.